Hey everyone, this is Lee the Appraiser from the world famous APR57 gallery here with another episode of Amazing Appraising. We're going to discuss a sort of a lithograph piece that just walked through the door. And what we have here, this is a very interesting piece because it's going to basically show how I do appraisals and what I think of them, and then going back and forth to evaluate it, to assess it, to verify what it is, and then to come to an evaluation. So very quickly, we have here is what appears to be a very beautiful, possibly original, hand-drawn drawing of a gentleman, I think his name was James Ensor, is that right?
Yes.
James Ensor, a very famous artist in his own right. And this appears to be done and signed by an artist by the name of David Lang. And it appears to be, he signed it here, the name of the portrait of Ensor, and he dated it 1926 is when he purportedly did this. So the first thing we look at is whether we believe the entire piece is original and in the artist, which his name is David Lang's hand. So upon close examination, it appears that the writing on the bottom row is slightly different than the writing in the portrait piece. So we made the determination that this is actually a print or a lithograph, and the bottom is actually signed in his own name, in his own hand. And it also says here, expressive d'artiste, which means it's basically the equivalent of the American, what they call AP, which is artist proof, meaning that an artist proof typically is the first editions of the item made. Typically, they make 1 to 10 pieces, sometimes more, sometimes less. But that's the first run that they do, and typically they'll give them to certain people as a gift, and they typically have more value as a general rule than the general prints that were made afterwards. All right, so when the gentleman came in and showed us this, so here I am, I'm thinking, okay, the whole thing might be the original. Upon closer look, I said, well, not quite. It appears that the only thing that's original about this is the bottom three, his notation here, the artist proof notation, and the signature. You got that? And then we determined that it's probably an artist proof of the first several issues. Now I look at this and I go, okay, fine. It's probably not particularly valuable because it's done by an artist who I never heard of, but it looks like a very, very nice piece. Artist proof from something done in the early 1900s. So I'm saying it's possible that this could be worth upwards of $1,000 or more. Okay, that's just a guess of mine, of course, and but not particularly valuable. And then, upon studying a little further, the gentleman gave me what we're going to call is sort of a biography resume of the artist. It's actually about 9 pages of various history of the artist, saying where he grew up and everything like that. That says here that some of his work was sold throughout the years. A list of maybe 50 pieces of art, saying that he was born in 1897, I guess, fought in World War I, went to Belgium, and all these different things. His works have been bought by several museums. So all of a sudden, I'm saying, oh my God, this could be a very well-known artist with a strong pedigree. Now, as of yet, I didn't look him up yet. So this is all just in my head here, what I'm thinking. And then it shows that that James Ensor, the artist, his works have been estimated to sell for as much as $15,000 to $20,000. They actually have one here that, I guess that's a different painting, right? That's a different one, but it showed that the artist who is the portrait in this picture, his work has sold for $15,000 and on. Okay, so now I'm at a higher level. So maybe this thing is worth $3,000 to $5,000, $3,000 to $10,000. Okay, so the next step is for me then to look up actually David Lang. So we looked him up, and unfortunately, there's nothing really about him. So even though we have a pedigree of his work, most of this stuff is not significant, meaning, you know, I guess it's what somebody would put on their resume perhaps, but it's not in the art world. You have to remember, there's actually millions and millions of artists out there. We're very fortunate. We're directly across the street from the world famous Art Student League, which is the oldest school teaching of artists in the world. It goes back several hundred years, and they have thousands of students that they teach and that graduate every year, take various courses. So just because you're an artist doesn't make your work particularly valuable and collectible. So I would say probably only 1 out of maybe 10,000 artists does their work actually become somewhat more valuable. So even though this is a very interesting, and there's nothing here that I would say is wrong and is not correct. It's just that upon further inspection, and to give you an example, when they say his work is, like there's something here, for example, that his work was bought by a museum here. Was bought by this museum in Vienna. Interesting enough, I would say that the reason his work was being sold or was put in a museum was not because of the David Lang name. It's because they wanted a portrait of James Ensor in their museum. That was the reason. It just so happens he drew it. So let's put it more in context. If you had an artist that drew a very beautiful picture of Marilyn Monroe, and you had a Marilyn Monroe museum, they might want that picture of Marilyn in their museum. But it has no connection, meaning that they're buying it or they're putting it in the exhibition because of the artist. To them, the artist is meaningless. They couldn't even care they couldn't care less about the artist. They're carrying this a picture of Marilyn Monroe. So that is sort of my understanding of what happened here, is that the piece of this artist, they wanted a nice portrait of the artist, and that's why they took it. So unfortunately, this was a piece that before, I rode up and down the ladder of valuations until we came to the conclusion that what this is a very, very nice early print lithograph, semi-artist proof. I would guess there's probably no more than 5 or 10 of these. However, there's just no demand based on the artist David Lang. So what's interesting of his, it's a nice drawing, beautiful, and it's a nice portrait of Mr. Ensor, but that's the bottom line. So estimated value on this, we're going to say retail, maybe $300 to $500 at tops. Okay, so again, if you guys have anything else that you want to buy, sell, or appraise, please let us know. You can just reach out to us at Lee at APR57 in New York City, and we'll be happy to give you more information. Okay, until next time, good day. Take care.